Everyone, Zeddy here again with another Titans card review, and I am not re-recording this and re-uploading because I completely misread the legendary card and didn't want to be embarrassed yet again. Yes, this is take two. If you saw the review earlier, whoopsies. We'll talk about my mistake in a second, but we have an insane Deathrattle Priest Legendary, infinite value, and a 5-star, possibly holy card. We'll talk about all that. If you want to win these cards, all you have to do after that giveaway, like, comment. We're giving away the video description below. We're giving away 2 standard bundles, 2 mega bundles out of my pocket, and if we hit another 1,000 subs, by the time all the cards are out, I will add another mega bundle. Hit that sub button, make me go broke. So let's take a look, starting off with this legendary card that is kind of built around all the other cards that I may have kind of goofed on. We have Raiden, I don't know how to pronounce it, a 6-mana 5/5 Deathrattle minion, legendary minion. Summon each other minion you've played this game that didn't start in your deck. I may have read this that I thought you could just get a copy of this card and then keep resummoning it, making it go infinite, which I still didn't even think would be that good, but the memes would be there. However, you summon each other minion. So each other minion, you can't get it back. It has to be something different. So you played a couple of Astalors, a 5/5, an 8/8. You bring those back. Any minion identity theft, a Noggling from a school teacher. Those all count as the minions that didn't start in your deck. Anything you powered synchronize, you can bring back. So, you know, bringing back a Deathrattle from a Deathrattle can be quite good. However, this card itself doesn't have taunt. It can be silenced. Priests can remove it themselves. You can like light it, burns it, or death it, you know, proc it yourself. There is that. But overall, it's like an insane kind of payoff for like Burgle, Thief, Deathrattle Rogue. And I think people have a lot of fun with it. But to me, it's like a stat bomb that I just don't think makes much sense to run, even with a lot of the payoff cards we're going to look at, which I think are all kind of terrible. I think like the new archetype Priest is getting is not that great, but they are getting a really good tool to go with all of it. I don't see this card being good outside of, you know, memes, fun memes for people. I think people will enjoy this card and the shenanigans you could possibly do with it, like a lot of weasel tunnelers and stuff. Like you can troll in wild pretty heavily. There's a lot of things you can do, but also note it is for each minion you played. So like resing with like a res spell won't work. Getting Shadow Essence won't work. You have to play the minion, which also limits it as well. So I'm giving this a 2 out of 5 in standard, the same rating in my first take, but it's even worse, but I'm still giving the same rating because I think it'll see a little bit of play for people that like to have fun with this style of card, but I don't think it'll be super competitive. And I also will give it a 2 out of 5 in Wild, where the shenanigans are much higher. But again, competitive level, I just don't see it. Speaking of that, we have Pogo Hopper for Priest. It is a 1-mana 1/1 mech. Astral Automaton has +1/+1 for each other Astral Automaton you have summoned this game. So you don't have to play it to get the buff as long as it's been summoned. But if you look at the current Priest like pool of like ways of getting more copies of cards, you do have a card we're going to take a look at in a second that's really good with this, but you also have to run very little minions to make it work. We'll show it in a second, but you have like powered synchronize, and like that's really it. There's not a lot of great ways you can balance it, I guess, with like Brewmaster, although is Brewmaster even in standard right now? I don't even know. You have the new like 2-drop that creates a temporary copy of a minion. You could do that as well, but it's a mech that doesn't, you know, actually have any ability, and it scales very slowly. Like +1/+1, you need to hit probably like 3, 4, or 5 where you're really starting to feel it, and you're probably gonna want to run magnetics to like do something with it, give it taunt, lifesteal. You know, back in the day, Pogo Hopper, you'd slap a Zilliax on it and get a bunch of stats. It is important to note, though, unlike Pogo Hopper, it's not a battle cry. It's a constant effect. So if you like resurrect this or in any way like create a copy and summon it, it will keep that +1/+1. It'll stack every time. So that doesn't go away unless it's silenced. So it's not a battle cry in that regard, but I still think it's just a meme. I think it's a meme. I don't think you're going to be playing this competitively, but again, like Pogo Hopper, I anticipate it to be a very popular and fun style of card people will play. I'm just not convinced of its competitive viability. So again, 2 out of 5 in standard. In Wild, there's a lot more ways to bring it back and raise deads and all sorts of stuff, but in Wild, you're going to blow up playing something like this, in my opinion. And you could also play Neptulon on like turn 2, you know. That seems like a bit better of a strat. So I'm going to go with a 2 out of 5 in standard and wild, but I think it's funny. Like, I don't think these cards are that good, but I think people will like them. So at least there's that, right? Like, they'll be popular in their own way. And speaking of that, another card I think falls in that category, the False Disciple, a 2 mana 2/2 minion, battle cry, discover a legendary priest minion from the past. You could get, you know, Chameleos, you can get you could get Raza the Unchained, you can get Temporis and give your opponents 2 extra turns, or you can get Archbishop Benedictus and like copy your opponent's deck and put it into yours and then make it work with your Deathrattle Legendary. That's pretty solid and crazy memes, but it's value for a class that doesn't need value, and a lot of wild legendaries, in particular Priest, are absolutely terrible cards. They're so bad. I don't think this is a reliable card to play. It's more of a meme card. Pretty good in Arena, but you know, please, as I tweeted out earlier, please never, ever, ever, ever unnerf Mindrender Lucia as long as this card's in standard, because I don't want to be facing that in standard, because it can get that as well. But overall, it's just a 2/2, not even premium stats like every other Discover card. And I don't think the options are going to be all that great the majority of the time. So again, I mean, you can resurrect it with your, your legendary and all that, but I'm giving it a 2 out of 5 in standard and wild. I don't think it's worth the cut, but you know, people, again, I think will play it, have fun with it. I just don't think it'll be competitive. And well, let's continue that trait with Student of the Stars, a 3 mana 4/3 minion, Deathrattle. Shuffle a copy of this into your deck with permanent +3/+3. No taunt, no rush, nothing other than it's like infinite, similar to that 1-drop that Druid had that was a 1/3 beast. It would shuffle into the deck with permanent, I think +2/+2. That never took off. I feel like Priest is a more viable option to make that work, because they're a control class. They have removal, AoE, healing, and all that stuff. But again, it's probably just jank fun for, like, you know, the people that want that greed value. Like, I just don't think summoning, you know, you get a 7/6 and then it gets a 10/9, you know, it's, or yeah, 10/9, math is hard, but it keeps stacking, right? Like, that's a lot of stats, but at the end of the day, by the time you get that going, you know, people can remove that. And, you know, Silence kind of crushes this card, and Silence is pretty prolific in a lot of decks. And transforms and all that. I don't see it as a viable card. This is another 2-star card in Standard Wild where I think people will have fun playing it, but I don't think it'll be competitive. And well, there's a card here that's even worse. I think this card is absolutely terrible. Shapeless Constellation. It is an 8 mana 8/8. That's it. However, Battle Cry, transform into an 8/8 copy of a random minion in your hand. Like, the best high roll I could think of is probably Astral Automaton, and you've like hit a bunch of them, and then your 8/8 becomes like a 12/12, or, you know, whatever your +1/+1 is stacking on it. Maybe you hit a Colossal, and it's only an 8/8 Colossal for 8/8 man. Like, if the Colossal at 7 mana is better. Like, that's kind of crazy. But like a Taunt, or, you know, the Deathrattle legendary itself, and that summons stuff, and then you play it, and then that summons more stuff, but it has to die too. It's just, I just don't see the payoff for this card. It's 8 mana, and you have to really hit a specific minion in your hand for this to be good. I'm giving it a 1 out of 5 in standard, a 1 out of 5 in wild. I just think it's absolutely terrible. But I'll leave off with the card that I think is actually good. I didn't give any of these playable ratings except for Creation Protocol, a 2 mana holy spell. Discover a copy of a minion in your deck. It's like Shadow Visions, but for minions. And you can forge it and get another copy. So you get insane value. You get another copy of a card in your deck, which a minion in your deck, which is just really good. Get another Astalor, another Titan, another Colossal. Like, that's just good. Another, even School Teacher, Vizier, whatever. The insane value. You could play this in any deck, period. The Deathrattle Priest, any deck could play this other than Shadow Priest, because it's a holy spell. I think this is auto-include, in Standard, Wild, this is a 5-star card. You're playing this for sure. You don't even need to forge it. And if you're in those greedy, like more control style matchups, yeah, forge it. Get 2 copies of that big value card. Win the game. Do incredible stuff. I think this is auto include again in Control Priest. And even think about Wild, where you want to get more Nazmanis or Radiant Elementals for your combo priest too. You can do that and play this for like 0 mana, cheating that out. There's so much potential for this card. It is so freaking good that it maybe makes up for all the other cards being kind of terrible, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. These are just my opinions, so let me know in the comments below what you agree with, disagree with, and hopefully I didn't make any absolutely terrible mistakes on this review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.